careers. That's what I was telling you about. I did a lot of careers. What I didn't mention in between that times, I had 2 children. I had a child when I was in the military, and then I had a child once I got out of the military. So life begins. So I had a passion for budgeting and teaching people how to budget. A lot of times we hear this word budget, but what is a budget? This is some of the things that you should start keeping a tally of every month. Sometimes things change, but some of us, we don't even budget. That's how we get in debt, because we have no budget. That's why we get to the point when it comes Christmas time, we're spending some things that we really haven't budgeted over the course of the year. And I know a lot of banks offer like Christmas savings. You know what I mean? That's very beneficial to us, but we'll get to Christmas time, we'll pull out that credit card and we'll splurge. And then you spend the rest of the year paying for that credit card and paying that debt off. That's when they give out the most loans, because people are taking money out for Christmas. Some people, somebody brought it to my attention, pet, to get your dog cut. That costs money. You understand? To go to the movies, that costs money. Eating out. You know what I mean? Sometimes we don't even see like all the stuff that come out of our budget. So we wonder why at the end of the year why our credit cards are maxed out, because you can be a nifty spender, but there's all those intangible things, those other things that you don't really see on a day-to-day basis. Pet care. Some people have dogs. I never had an animal. I had fish. Fish was a little bit less expensive than dogs, but you need to get your dog's nails clipped. You need to get their hair cut. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You need dog food. All that adds up. Sometimes we don't put, yeah, they gotta go to the vet. We don't put that in the budget. I know this dog, some lady told me her dog got cancer. She was paying like $200 a month for cancer medication. What? Yeah. I ain't know nothing about that. I just had fish. Fish died. I flushed him down the toilet. We go on about our business. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Some people love their dogs. To each his own, do what you do, but it's an expense. And then you have co-payments, meaning that when you go to the doctors, you know, women go to doctors much more than men, so there are co-pays that you have to go for a doctor. Again, when we're doing our monthly payment, you might have 4 or 5 doctor's appointments in 1 month. $20, $30, $40, depending on what your co-payment. Now you got $200 that you didn't put in your budget. Not saying you go every month, but maybe you put in $10 a month. Again, this is estimates, not exact. So if you're putting up $10, $20 a month every month, now when you do have that month, when you have a lot of doctor's appointments, you already have it in your budget. And I also tell people, if it don't have S-A-L-E in front of it, I will not buy it. I can't tell you the last, I have never bought anything that doesn't have S-A-L-E in front of it. I like to look good, but I'm not being crippled because of it. People lucky to save 2% of their money, but the rule of thumb, so you can retire at 60, is that you should save 10%. And what I learned from my mom, sometimes people get a little bit extreme. If you save $20 a month, that's better than nothing. Right. It's better than nothing. Right. That $5 a month for 10 years is better than you not. And most of us, $5 ain't nothing, so we won't do it. Yes, yes, it does. And after a while, it builds interest. Yeah. So after 10 years, it starts to build interest. Yeah. Right. And do the math, ladies and gentlemen. You pay $100 a month for that's $1,200 plus the $500 for that phone. You pay $1,700 for that phone every year. $1,700 for that phone every year. Multiply it by 10, that's $17,000. You could have put that money in a 401k. That's why, you know, I do this workshop for kids going off, graduating from high school. Before they choose a college major, I put them through this workshop. I just did this kid, he was in last month, he goes to Howard University. He's going into his senior year. He was telling me how he's about to graduate, and then he's going to law school, and then he's going to grad school. I said, okay, bro, let's sit down with this job. Let's do this right here. Anyway, to find out this guy was $77,000 in debt. He has another senior year at Howard University, is $35,000 a year. And then he's talking about going to law school, which is another $80,000. Then he was talking about getting another degree. I said, bro, you're gonna be $250,000 in debt. And guess what he said he hopes to make when he get out of school? Guess what he gets? Guess what he said he wanted to make? $50,000. That's what he said he's gonna make. $50,000. That's what he hoped to make. $50,000. I said, dude, you're gonna take on $250,000 worth of debt to make $50,000. He has no concept of money. He has no concept. That's what we sending our kids off. That's why you go through this with your kids. They have no concept of money. He thought, guess where he was from? He wasn't from Pittsburgh, where you can live for $50,000. He was from Los Angeles. He was from Los Angeles, and he lived in D.C. and he had no concept of money. He's about to graduate from college. So how scary is that? Right. How scary is that this guy? I went to school. The reason why I teach is I got 3 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. I got 3 degrees, and nobody taught me about budgeting more than my mother. And I have 2 degrees in accounting, where we talk about numbers. But nobody told me how to budget my money. So you go to college, you get all these degrees, they don't tell you about credit, and they don't tell you about budgeting. But you pay $100,000 to get a college education, nobody teaches you about credit, Nobody teach you about budgeting. You can take a cruise, you divide it by 12, that's about $90 a month. If you pay yourself, you can take a nice vacation. If you work hard, you deserve a vacation. A lot of us, we don't put that in our vacation. And I ain't talking about a trip to the mall, the Monrovia Mall. I'm talking about get away from it all, leave your cell phone, take a nice cruise. So this one, that assignment is a lot better because this is kind of hard. With that assignment, every day you come home, I spend 50 cents on chips. I spend $1.50 on a Pepsi. Right. So it shows you every day what your expenses is. Then you calculate it at the end. You're like, wow. And if you go to people who really, really got it, go through Squirrel Hill and look at the cars they drive. They got it. So when you go through Bentley Drive and you go through Borough Street, you see people got rims and all that. You broke. You go through Squirrel Hill, where those houses are $1 million, $2 million houses. They driving Subarus and old Camrys. You understand? And they got $1 million in the bank. They broke. Athletes are broke. Don't believe them because they flexing. They're broke. Because anytime you leave the NFL after making $50 million in 3 years, you back in the poorhouse. You broke. Right. So they front. So to your point, you got to have a whole concept. Anytime I'm not impressed by what a person drives because I know the majority of the time they front. And what I always tell my kids that I mentor, when you look at a person driving a real nice car, and I ain't talking about this in the hood, I'm talking about a real nice car. Look what color their hair is. It's great. The only in the rap videos where you driving and you flexing, only in the hood where you driving and flexing, you young. The real guys that's driving those $100,000 cars, their hair is great. Because they know that a car is a worst investment you can make, and they wait till they really in a position. When you rappers, you talk about you driving a Bugatti, there's no way that you could put out one album and drive a Bugatti. Only the Kennedys and the Bushes are able to buy a Bugatti. So we have very big because
the Carters.
Right. We a lot of us, to your point, our self-esteem, we have to show people what we don't have, but that molds our spending habits. That's why, I see these kids waiting in line to pay $250 for Air Jordans, and I ask them how much money you have in the bank. They say I ain't got no money in the bank.
Darnell, thank you so much for being here.